The month is winding down, and that means it's time for the Maybe series. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today is the March 2025 Maybe series. February was weird. I was super busy with work. Super busy. And I'll get into this when I do the wrap up for next week for February. But yeah, I've just been insanely busy. I'm happy to be here in front of you guys today to do the Maybe series. If you're new here, the Maybe series is a list of books I compile towards the end of the month of what I might read in the upcoming month. Put a little picture of it here, and I talk about what it's about if I can remember and why I was interested in reading it. I usually pare down my reading list from these books, and then there's a spot every month for my book club book. I run a book club, and yeah, I usually read between 3 and 4 books a month, but it really just depends on my workload, my life load, what's happening at the time. Yeah, so make sure you get all the buttons down below so you know what I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. So if you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. I don't really have much more of an intro for you guys, so yeah, well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. The first book on the Maybes list is The Perfect Guess by Emma Rous. Okay, I don't really know what this is supposed to be about because the description was like really long. And like, honest to goodness, I was having trouble trying to pick up what it was trying to tell me. Basically, like, in the 80s, I would say, this couple, like, asked this young girl to come live with them to be a companion for their daughter at this, like, mansion type house. And then we're also getting this other story that's, like, modern about this woman who's trying to be an actress that gets a gig to go be a pretend guest at this same house, like 20-30 years later. It's marketed as a thriller. Like, the cover is very thriller-esque, you know. So I'm assuming it's like some sort of something about this house. Like, either the house is like weird, or the people in the house are weird, or like the history of the house is weird. I don't know. But it keeps kind of like, the premise keeps circling back to this house, and like how these two stories of like the girl that got asked to live there as a companion and the girl that ends up going back as a hired actress, like somehow their stories kind of like interconnect. I don't know. It sounded pretty good. Like, I like the cover, honestly. That kind of drew me in. And the reviews are pretty solid, so yeah, it went on the list. The next book on the list is Tender Beast by Liselle Sambury. Okay, the cover, you guys. This is brilliant. I love this cover. And if the cover does the book justice, like, I'm going to be excited. Okay, I did not, and I'll get more into this in the wrap up, I did not read as many BIPOC books in February as I was hoping. And I had this huge list of BIPOC books, like, written up, and this was on there, and so I looked into it. Apparently, this is a YA book about a girl and her brother that go to a private school, and one of the students ends up getting murdered, and somehow the little brother ends up becoming like the main suspect of the murder. And so the sister is like taking it upon herself to find who actually did it, to clear her brother's name. And while she's in the middle of doing that, another body turns up. So this sounds like a murder mystery. In the description it said if you like Ace of Spades, that this was kind of similar. I've not read that book yet, okay, but I've heard so many good things about it. It's on my list to read, but it's like really hard to get. Like, it's super popular, so everybody wants it, so it's hard to find. For free anyway, like through the library, it's hard to get. There's a long waiting list. So yeah, the cover is giving me a lot of good vibes. I like the description, even though it's YA. I don't know, I might look into it. The next book on the list is Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister. Okay, Gillian McAllister wrote Wrong Place, Wrong Time, which I read that, I believe, 2 years ago. Maybe it was last year. Now I can't remember. I really liked that book, though. It blew me away. It was one of the best thrillers I'd read that year. I really liked it, and I remember thinking, I need to look into Gillian McAllister again. This popped up on a feed for me, and I was immediately like, save that, because I'd read Gillian McAllister and I liked her other book. And so this doesn't give a lot. It's basically this young girl goes missing, and the detective that's put on her case is like put in some weird position where she has to like find, not just find the murderer, but find someone to pin the murder on. I feel like she's getting blackmailed or something. Wasn't really like understanding fully the synopsis or whatever the premise of the piece, so it sounds interesting. Gillian McAllister really did blow me away with Wrong Place, Wrong Time. It exceeded all my expectations, and so I'd be interested to see if this is on par with that book. So yeah, we'll see. If you can't tell, like, when I was making up this list, I really miss thrillers, okay? And it's been a while since I've had a really good thriller, and I'm just aching for one. Like, I really want a good thriller. I feel like I've been duped like a bunch of times lately with thrillers, and I just really want a good one. So I feel like most of the list is thrillers today. But yeah, we'll see if I can get this. So as I was sitting here thinking about what I wanted to read for March, I started thinking about all my open series. I did not make my open series post in February like I thought I was going to, so I am going to try to get to that in March so that you guys can really see how bad it is. How many open series I have and how many like I'm willing to let go and how many I'm actually wanting to try and complete, because it is on my goals list for 25 to complete some of these series. So yeah, I went through and I started looking, and this one popped up. It is The Retreat by Sarah Pearse. This is the sequel to The Sanatorium. I read The Sanatorium ages ago, but I absolutely loved that book. It had like the most immaculate vibes, okay? And at the time that I read The Sanatorium, The Retreat was not even out. And now, because it's been so long since I've read The Sanatorium, not only is The Retreat out, but the third book in this series has also been put out. So Sarah Pearse is like plowing right along with this series without me. So I feel like I need to catch up a little bit. This follows Detective Elin Warner, and The Sanatorium was kind of like a serial killer thriller-ish novel. And I thought it was really well written. I really liked the work that Pearse did with the main character, Elin Warner, and she really left it open for the next book, which is The Retreat. So yeah, this has been on many maybe series, and I feel like it's finally time to like take the leap and like try and get it. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully March is not as crazy as February was, and I'll have more time for reading. The next book on the list is The Fallen Witch by Emma V.R. Noyes. Okay, this is the sequel to The Sunken City, which I read that last January, I think. I feel like that's when I read it. It's a YA book, and it is about a young pirate girl. I hate saying girl. She's a young woman. You know, I feel like she's like 18 or something. Anyway, she's a pirate, and apparently pirates hate witches. She gets thrown overboard into the water, and as she sinks into the water, she thinks that she's dying, and when she wakes up, she finds out that she's actually a secret witch princess of the underwater world. It's basically like a witch mermaid. The covers are like, I don't know. The covers are so cheesy. I don't get it, because the book was actually really good, and it was YA, and y'all know how I've been feeling about YA, but it really delivered for me. Like, it was exciting and fast-paced, and it actually had some good, like, world building that was really digestible and easy to follow, and it was fun. But there was also, like, some darkness happening here. Basically, once she gets down and she figures out that she's this, like, lost princess of the underworld, she's introduced to two brothers, one of which is like the good brother that is like her dad's right hand man. He's like all put together and like rules and everything, and like basically her dad wants her to end up with him, because he would make a really excellent like prince to the throne. But obviously the other brother is like dark and mysterious and like trouble. And yeah, she basically gets entangled with these two brothers, and she kind of has to decide what she's gonna do, like which one she's gonna pick, which one she's gonna end up following. So yeah, I mean, lots of tropes, lots of really good tropes, and I think they were written really well. And again, the world building was really easy to digest, which I like in a fantasy. So this was really accessible, and I do think, I don't know, I wouldn't recommend this for young YA readers. I would recommend this for the higher end, like 15, 16, because there are some scenes that are a little bit suggestive. Nothing smutty. I would just say I wouldn't let my 13 or 14-year-old niece read this, but I would let my 16-year-old niece read it. So yeah, The Fallen Witch, the sequel to The Sunken City. I really liked the first one, and it was really fast, so like maybe this will be like a nice little change of pace. So we'll see if I can get it. This is the last one. It's The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. I have no idea where I pulled this book from, but the first line of the premise really got me, and it basically said Chrissy is an 8-year-old and Chrissy has murdered somebody. So I mean, like, that's a really good line, right? Who wouldn't want to read that? A child murderer? And so then I started looking more into the premise, and it's basically like talking about how she has got this like super damaged childhood, and doesn't really get into why she killed this boy or whatever, or if she got caught for it or anything. It just like says that she did. And then we also jump to the future where Chrissy has moved and changed her name, and she's an adult that has a child now. And something about someone is calling her or harassing her. So I'm assuming somebody found out about like her past or something and is harassing her about that. So, half of this sounds really interesting to me, and then the other half of it sounds really boring. Like the part that sounds super interesting is like, how does an 8-year-old kill somebody and get away with it? Because I'm assuming she got away with it, right? Maybe she didn't though. Maybe this is like the allegedly book where like she ended up going to prison for killing somebody, and she got out when she was like 16 and kind of like reformed her life. So it could be like that. But then the part that's boring me already is like, oh, she's getting found out. She's getting like crank calls about someone who figured out her past. Like either she's just gonna run for that or she's gonna hunt them down and like shut them up. I don't know. That seems like a really overplayed thriller line to me. So we'll see. Like I said, the original premise of the book, like that Chrissy is an 8-year-old that murdered somebody, I find super interesting. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see if I have time, if I can get it, etc. All the things, and we'll see how I feel about it towards like the middle of the month. If I'm still feeling iffy on it, or if there's another book that I think is gonna like work better for me, I'll probably just shelve it for a little while. But yeah, it definitely sounds like it could be really cool. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. That is the Maybe series, and we will see how that all plays out. Like I said, it really just comes down to if I have time, what I can get through the library. Right now I've been doing a lot of audiobooks because I've just been overrun with work, and like the idea of sitting down and reading a book on the one hand is like, I miss it. I do. I miss sitting down and reading. But then on the other hand, reading has become such a chore for me because of work that like sometimes I visually, like my eyes need a break from like looking at words. And so audiobooks have really come in clutch for me between like last year and this year. It's really been something I've enjoyed, and it does help me get my reading done because I love reading. I do. I just sometimes I literally can't focus, and the idea of sitting down with a book sometimes just gives me a headache. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what's available to me and like what my timing looks like. I know that this week, like the first week of March, is gonna be pretty bad for me. Like I'm gonna be really busy, but then I feel like, I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking like the rest of March shouldn't be that bad, but like we're literally starting up sports right now, and all 3 of my kids are doing sports, all different sports. So yeah, on the one hand, usually when they're doing sports practices, I'll read my book or listen to my book. So maybe I'll get more reading done because I'm going to be sitting at sports practices. So I don't know. I have no idea what March, now that I'm thinking about that, I have no idea what March is going to be like. So I guess we will just all figure it out together. Make sure all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and feel free to leave me a comment. Tell me what you've been reading, if you're excited about spring. Yeah, if you've read any of the books on my list, if you liked them, if you would recommend them, tell me everything. I love hearing from all of you. Other than that, I will see you all next time. Bye!